Hi all, good evening. Welcome to the Business Analyst Training session. Looks like we have a new participant. New participants, could you please introduce yourself? Give us a brief description about yourself. Welcoming you all to the Business Analyst Training program. New participants, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Give a brief about yourself. What are you currently doing? Are you a student or are you working somewhere? Which domain or programming language are you working in?
Hi, my name is Suraj Baral. I'm from San Diego. I used to live in Houston, Texas, and then I joined the military, and I came to San Diego. I got out, and right now I'm driving Uber, and I'm also a personal trainer at the Effective Fitness.
Okay.
Right now, I want to train on the IT to get a better job with.
Okay, Suraj. So, what's your educational background?
I have a associate's degree in business accounting.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Okay, but currently, you are into you're working as a fitness trainer. Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay, most welcome, Suraj. So, I will give you a brief about what we can offer you as a part of the business analyst training program, and what is the kind of a job that you can look for in the near future. Most welcome to the
Okay.
program. Ruchi, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi all, I'm Ruchi. I have just shifted to US right now. We are in New Jersey, and I am on dependent visa right now. And although I'm a BCom graduate and have been into sales and marketing, but I think since I don't have a working visa right now, this is the right time for me to change my domain from sales and marketing to something more productive,
Perfect.
and that is more into the market.
Perfect, Ruchi. Most welcome. How about your academic qualification?
I'm a BCom graduate.
BCom. Okay, absolutely fine. So, you're in the right place, I would say, both Ruchi and Suraj. I think Shruti, we have already had an introduction of you last week. So, welcoming you all to the training program again. As a
Thank
part
you
of the
so much.
business analyst training program, we will be learning a lot of concepts relating to how will you analyze the business, right? So it is not that you'll have to have a lot of technical knowledge when it comes to the business analyst designation or the business analysis process. There are a set of standard procedures that you must know to analyze the business. How will you analyze the business? And primarily, the business analyst process or the course that you will be learning from TechieBees will be covering all the aspects that you will capture as a part of the business analysis process within a software company. Business analyst's role can differ between a software company and a domain specific company. Like some of you are currently into sales, marketing, business administration, or you are currently a trainer and you would like to shift to a different domain. Business analyst is the perfect domain for you to get a switch over because one, it's easier to learn business analysis process and you do not need any prior software experience. So even if you're from a different domain, you can still get to understand what the business analysis process is all about and how you can perform analysis relating to a product development opportunity that you get with a software firm. Being a part of the sales and marketing, You would really be good with communication, negotiation skills, and criticism handling. As a part of business analysis program or the business analysis practice, it is very much needed that you should have very good communication skills, networking skills, interpersonal skills, negotiation and criticism handling skills. Business analysis process is not just about creating diagrams and documents or artifacts. You must know what level of people you are interacting with and how you could serve them. So what do you mean by serving different level of people? How do you get to meet different people to understand what is the requirement of a software development? If there is a software development request that is coming from an external stakeholder or from an internal stakeholder, we will see the difference between these two. You must know what are the type of questions that you should ask them. What is the communication plan that you have to create? What are the various session activities that you have to carry out? What are the various observations that you have to collect? How do you assess your stakeholder? As a part of stakeholder analysis, there are a set of documents that you have to create. How do you organize workshops, group meetings, face-to-face interactions, questionnaires, surveys? How do you create an interview? What should you do in the process of an interview? How do you carry out the various methods of requirement gathering or requirement elicitation? It's referred to as requirement elicitation. With a minimal technical knowledge and a good business analysis knowledge, you can shine very well in any of the software organization when you start your career as a business analyst. Switching your job from a different domain to a business analyst domain is much easier compared to starting off as a tester, software tester, or a software developer, because these would require a lot more technical knowledge compared to the business analyst program or the business analyst role that you would play within the software company. As a part of the software testing, you might require to know manual testing, or that's also referred to as a black box testing. So in black box testing, what are the various concepts that you must know as a part of the business analysis process? A business analyst role will be required to work with a number of other people within the organization at various levels. We will see what are the different roles that a business analyst would interact with on a day-to-day basis. As a part of the business analysis program, we will be covering an introduction to the business analysis to give you an idea of what business analysis is all about and what will you be working on as a business analyst in a software company. What will be your roles and responsibilities, competencies and deliverables. We will see software development life cycle in detail. What is a software development life cycle? I will be giving you 2 sample projects, complete projects that has a proper documentation. One of the project is referred to as End Performance Enhancement System, automation of software assessment processing within the data quality functionality of a software company. We have a complete project documentation for it with different structure of the document or topics discussed within the document. There is another document or a project that is meant for automation of diagnostic center activities. It is referred to as DiagSoft. That soft contains both front end and a back end. We will be covering all the aspects of what a front end is, what are the different architectures of the product or a software that gets created, what is the method of implementation starting from the requirement gathering phase up to implementation and software release or deployment, followed by the control or the support, maintenance and support given to the software that is created. This entire process is referred to as a software development life cycle. We will also see what are the various SDLC methodologies. Software development life cycle in short is referred to as SDLC. We will see what are the various SDLC methodologies, requirement elicitation and requirement analysis process. So within the requirement elicitation and analysis process, we will be covering system analysis and system design. Business analysis templates. There are various templates that we will be working with. Other than the project, there are so many documents and templates along with the Visio and visual paradigm diagrams that I will be sharing with you. I will be explaining it to you from basics up to the advanced level. We will be covering all the possible UML diagrams that you might have to use as a part of your documentation process, or the artifacts that you could create in various stages of the SDLC. Understanding use case modeling. What is use case modeling? How do you create use case scenarios? How do you create use case diagrams? And how is that going to be mapped to a functional requirement? And how a functional requirement gets translated to a system functionality, and how is that getting implemented by a software developer? What are the various roles within a software development team? Within a software company, what are the various departments? As a business analyst, which are the roles or the departments that you will be working with? You will also see what is data modeling and what are the various techniques of data modeling. We will be covering data flow diagrams and data flow model diagrams. Quality assurance. We will be covering the entire software testing life cycle, starting from the basic manual testing. Prior to quality assurance practice, I will also be covering how to create a specification for a website. We will have that as a separate session, which gives you a clear idea of what is a standalone application development, or what is an application development and how different is that from a web application development. As a part of quality assurance, we will be following ISO, IEEE and CMMI level standards in the document creation process. We will be covering how to create test strategy, test plan, test environment, and then how to execute the test. What is a test scenario? What is a test case? What will you execute? You will execute a test case. When you execute, how do you capture the output? And when you have the output, how do you create the bug report or a defect report? How do you create weekly status summary reports? As a business analyst, you will also have to work with a project management group. In short, they are referred to as PMs or PMOs, Project Management Office. A business analyst will also play the role of a project coordinator, working with the project management group. There are various concepts relating to the project management. We will see some of the most important templates or the documents that you might have to create working with the project management group. We will also see what are the various software tools that a business analyst must know, other than the business analysis tools, we will also see how to create a document using Word, advanced concepts, because most of us know how to use MS Word, MS Excel and MS PowerPoint. To be a very good business analyst, remember, you must always require good knowledge in MS Word, MS Excel and MS PowerPoint. I will be covering some of the advanced concepts within MS Word that is required for you to create a very good document. We will be seeing various features in MS Excel. MS stands for Microsoft, Microsoft Excel, that would be required for you to perform data analysis, data crunching and data presentation to the development team. If you have to perform some sort of a data analysis or collect the data and give it to the development team for further development activities, how do you use Excel for that? Or if you have to create any of the spreadsheet related tasks using MS Excel, how do you do that? Other than that, we will also be working on SQL up to joins. The SQL that you learn will be common to SQL Server, Oracle, MS Access, MySQL, most of the RDBMS. You can use the SQL statements to extract the data or filter the data that you would like to extract. Other than this, we will also be covering Tableau visualization with some basics of statistics that will involve visualization. If you have to produce visualization to represent your understanding or some facts to the project management group or to the senior management group or a strategic and planning group, you might require good visualization skills using Excel and Tableau. We will be covering that as well. So in short, we will be covering all the concepts that can help you get prepared to take up a job in the software industry relating to the business analysis process or join them as a business analyst. We will also be covering Excel, SQL and Tableau. By learning these in combination with a business analyst skill set and MS Visio diagramming skill sets, you can very well become a data analyst as well in combination to a business analyst. You will get to learn the basics of project management. If you would like to join a company as a project coordinator, you can do that. You will have the basic knowledge about the project management in combination with the business analyst skill sets. If you wish to join a company as a manual tester, in addition to the business analysis knowledge, you can do that because we will be also covering the software testing lifecycle. So by taking up this program, there are various domains in which you can work within a software company. That is a part of the business analysis process within any organization. We have a new participant. Could you please introduce yourself? JP. Hi JP, welcome to the program. Please introduce yourself, your name and a brief introduction about what you have been working on.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jigisha, and currently I'm working in healthcare industry. It's a pharmaceutical industry, and I'm working as a quality analyst over there. But I wanted to join business analyst, so right now I'm over here to join this training.
Okay, so as a part of your quality analyst job, are you doing more of inspection and auditing kind of a job for pharma related products, or is this more into a product development quality assurance?
That's more about the tasting of pharma products.
Okay, that's more domain specific, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And how about your educational background?
I have done with the Bachelor of Pharmacy, Master of Pharmacy, and also MBA in healthcare.
Oh, okay, so you hold a MBA. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. So I think you should have got an understanding about the business analyst program, which I've been explaining. So as a part of the pharma business, there are so many companies that require a combination of business analysis skill sets and
Mm-hmm.
pharma product development. Primarily, when we talk about pharma product development, there are companies that work on bioinformatics, right, biogenes. So these kind of companies require candidates with pharma knowledge for their product development. Primarily, they work on analytical tools development for pharma related activities. But for the entire product life cycle, they need a business analyst who could work both with the product knowledge, that is the pharma knowledge, as well as the business analysis knowledge. So business analysis is a common domain for any of the software development, irrespective of the domain or the vertical in which you could specialize. Right? So you can use the SDLC or the business analysis process knowledge that you gain as a part of this program to any of the domains that are available in the software industry, be it a HR domain or a consumer product goods, or it could be healthcare, pharma domain or pharma management. There's something called as a pharma management as well, right? So that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the digital marketing, email marketing, campaigning, FMCG. You have spend analytics, core finance, capital markets, investment banking. So there are so many companies that develops product on a day-to-day basis. Either the product is developed for another company or that could be an in-house development. But a business analyst is very much needed wherever there is a product getting developed. So that is the best part of learning the business analysis concepts, because you have various opportunities. It is not restricted to a particular domain. Today, if you're working in a manufacturing domain or HR domain, say for about 6 months or 1 year, and then you can have a switch over to a different domain. But your business analysis skill sets that you learn will be common to whichever domain that you switch on to within the software company, because you will be primarily working on the software or the product development, wherein you will be using all the business analysis practices that you've learned. It is the domain expertise that most of the companies might train you on. They may take about 1 month to give you a complete training about the domain that they are working with, and then they may expect you to work as a business analyst in the product development. Once again, welcome to the training program. We will see some more details about the business analysis practices and what are the various roles.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already given you an introduction to the business analyst. The slides which we have already covered in the previous session, we will just move it a little faster. So a business analyst will be expected to perform analysis of the business for the software or the product development lead or an opportunity that comes to the organization. From the day an opportunity to work on a new product development will be taken ahead by a business analyst with the external stakeholder or the internal stakeholder to have initial discussion about what is the kind of a system that has to be developed. A software can also be referred to as a product or a system. An external stakeholder can also be referred to as a customer, user, end user, client. Stakeholders can also be internal to your organization, which means there could be a department that is operational or process oriented, and they may have a system barrier, or the existing system isn't satisfying all the business needs that could help them produce the output within a very short span of time. So you'll have to perform an as-is system analysis and then come up with a to-be system analysis. Various standards in business analysis process is defined by IIBA, International Institute of Business Analysis. This was started in March 2004 in Toronto. There are more than 800 business analysts who are members of the IIBA. You could also become a member of IIBA after completing this course, and you will be very much ready to take up a certification program with IIBA. Developing a business analysis body of knowledge. In short, it's referred to as BABOK. BABOK is a guide that has various standards defined to be followed as a part of the business analysis process. BABOK guide will be shared with you. A soft copy of BABOK guide will be shared with you. You could also become a member of IIBA and you can see what are the latest updates that you can get, or the latest standards that get added to the BABOK guide. Next, as we all know, a business analyst will be placed in between the business, means the point of contact or the stakeholder could be external or internal, one who gives the business, and the supplier. Supplier means one who works on the creation of the software. There are so many other departments involved in a software company, wherein a business analyst would require to translate or transform a business requirement into a functionality of a system and then get into the technical aspects of how the functionality of a system can be converted into a system module. A function of a system is also referred to as a module. So we will see each of these in detail. Similar to a business analyst role, we have various other roles in the market. One is called as a system analyst role, the other is the business system analyst role. A system analyst is going to have 100% technical knowledge and can also participate in white box testing or code based testing. The code that a software developer writes can be tested by a system analyst. Technical architecture can be created by a system analyst. High-level technical design can be created by a system analyst. A system analyst is expected to have a programming knowledge. Business system analyst will be in between the business analyst and a system analyst role, wherein the business system analyst will work with the business group or work on business analysis, say about 50%, and then the other 50% he will also be technically sound. He or she will be technically sound working on various programming concepts. Business analyst is expected to have good business analysis skills, process modeling skills, business process modeling skills, creation of artifacts, primarily to work on creation of artifacts, creation of requirement documents or specifications, and to create high-level design documents. There are various other roles like data analysis, data analytics, business analytics, financial analysis. So as a part of data analysis, you will be primarily working with business analysis skills in combination with data analysis. How to perform data analysis, starting from data extraction, data cleansing, data manipulation. You could also perform simple forecasting and visualization. That covers the data analysis practice. Data analytics and business analytics, on the other hand, involves high-end predictive modeling, forecasting, machine learning, data science concepts. So data analytics and business analytics, the term business analytics is different from business analysis. A business analyst will not perform activities as in business analytics. Okay, so do not use the term business analysis as business analytics. business analysis is different from business analytics. Business analytics involves more of predictive modeling, forecasting, and data science activities pertaining to the business. Data analytics involves the same set of predictive modeling, forecasting, or performing creation of algorithms, advanced or algorithms, simulation practices, etc. that is required to understand the high-level data patterns and outcomes of the data patterns. You'll be primarily working on data modeling and business modeling when it comes to analytics. Analysis is the basic or the foundation that leads to analytics. Financial analysis is a different domain altogether. There are companies that work on financial subject, could be into capital markets, investment banking, core accounting practices, wherein you'll be working with invoicing, accounts payable, accounts receivable, procurement. There are several accounting practices. So if you're from a finance background, there are companies that create softwares that are primarily used for finance activities. So your domain knowledge in combination with business analysis knowledge will really help you come up with very good softwares. Analyze the existing financial process in the organization to come up with as-is system modeling and to-be system modeling. That's referred to as a business process model for an as-is system and to-be system. Other than that, we will also be learning project management, quality assurance, documentation, and technical skills. As a business analyst, you must be very good with documentation, technical writing to some extent. You will not be required or expected to have high-end knowledge relating to the technologies in the market, but you must know what are the various technologies that are available in the market and how good you can use the technologies to create the product. But the development team will always be with the business analyst to help understand the technologies. Within a day you cannot learn, or within a very short span of time you cannot learn all the technologies, but you can get to know what are the various technologies that are used for which kind of a development. What .NET is used for which type of an application development. What are the various programming languages that are related to web development. Within this course, I will be continuously using technology names for you to grasp, get an understanding, and get that ease to speak about the technology once you take up a business analyst interview and join as a business analyst. So, to conclude, a business analyst will be working for IT improvement, process improvement, and business improvement within the organization. So what are the various roles that a business analyst might work with? Executive sponsors, C-level executives, higher top management executives like senior managers, directors, vice president, president, project owners, sponsors, stakeholders, business lead, IT lead, project manager, account director, developers, quality assurance group, user trainer, architect, database group that primarily works on database analysis and administration, data analyst, and business analyst group. So with this you can see that a business analyst plays a mix and match role. A business analyst must interact and work with each of the above mentioned roles. So the kind of an exposure that a business analyst will get within a very short span of time after joining an organization is much higher. The visibility is much higher for a business analyst compared to other roles within the organization who would be more specific to the kind of job profile that they take up. If a developer would work more into software development, day to day he would have modules which he would analyze and create code for. Interaction with the other group or the other departments or the set of people would be minimal in other roles compared to a business analyst role and a project management role, of course. A business analyst will also be playing a reasonable role in the project management activities. With that, we can surely say that the organizational exposure that a BA receives is much more. Roles and responsibilities: you have to interact with the stakeholder, analyze, communicate, and validate the requirements. You must understand the business problems and opportunities and recommend solutions accordingly. BA should identify, understand, and document all needed team roles related each defined activity for a project. BA must closely work with the project manager. BA will be involved in all requirement related activities. BA is responsible for creating a business model, primarily into organizing meetings, creating business process, workflows, and UML diagrams. In short, all of these are referred to as artifacts. BA competencies: analytical thinking and problem solving, decision making skills, managerial skills. Decision making skills: unlike other roles in the organization where you must grow to a level of a lead or a manager to make decision about any of the activities within your department or a team, as a business analyst, your decision-making skills will start from day one. When you start interacting with your end user and you get a requirement, you must be in a position to decide whether you want to go ahead with the requirement or not. Is it feasible to implement the requirement? Next, you also need managerial skills. Managerial skills need not be managing a team. A managerial skill could also be how well you manage the activities. As a business analyst, you may have to organize meetings, interact with various user groups. So you must know how to organize and how to manage events or sessions. Criticism is a part of the business analyst activity, starting from the first level of interaction that you could have with your internal or the external stakeholder. How well you handle the criticism. All that you say as a business analyst to your stakeholder may not be accepted. So you must efficiently handle negative criticism and make sure that you do not lose the business opportunity that comes your way. Business or domain knowledge, good communication and interaction skills, emotional intelligence and negotiation skills. And to some extent, you must also have software application or programming knowledge and web framework knowledge. What are the various BA deliverables? As a business analyst, you might have to work on requirement management, creation of BRDs, that is business requirement document, functional requirement document, technical requirement document, requirement traceability matrix, that's RTM, business process diagrams, storyboarding, how do you create user stories, how do you perform process mapping, how different is process mapping from data mapping. Within data modeling, how do you create data dictionaries? For that, you need an understanding of what are the different data types. UML diagrams, we will be covering UML diagrams in detail. What are the various UML diagrams that you might require? For sure you require. What is UML? UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. It is a specific modeling technique in which you will have standard notations with which you can create various types of diagrams like standard process diagrams, BPMN, that is a business process modeling notation diagrams, data flow diagrams, data flow model diagrams, tree view flowcharts, organization flowcharts, cause and effect diagram, the 5I analysis, SWOT analysis, SIPOC, activity diagram, sequence diagram, cross-functional diagram. There are so many use case modeling. So how do you create use case diagrams? What are the various options available under use case? We will be covering include, extent, generalization, and dependency. We will be covering all the aspects of a use case modeling, when to use include, when to use extend, what does it mean, and how to create use case or how to do a use case modeling. Together, these are referred as artifacts. We will also work on creating RTM, that is the requirement traceability matrix. So within requirement traceability matrix, we will be covering how to create RTM for business outcome to business requirement to functional requirement, and then functional requirement to a test case. We will also work on RACI matrix, RTM and RACI matrix. It is a must. These are all standard questions or standard practices that you must know within the business analysis practices or the entire business analysis process. RACI stands for responsible, accountable, consult and inform. How do you create a RACI matrix? How do you create test strategy, test plans, and how do you execute the test plan? A test plan contains the test scenarios and the test cases. Finally, how do you get approvals and sign-offs for each of the documents or the artifacts that you create as needed? As I already told you, a business analyst activity is different in a software industry and a domain specific industry. So in a software industry, the way you perform business analysis is different. There are different phases: initiation phase, planning phase, execution, monitoring and control, and closing phase. We will see this in detail as a part of the SDLC. In domain specific industry, you need to get an understanding of the process operations methodology, learn the required skill sets based on the process or the operation that you would be working with, monitoring the process phases and controlling errors. Closing phase, mostly it would be an ongoing task and it might take years to close a process or operation. In short, or to summarize, business analyst role is a bridge between the business and the technology. A business analyst transforms or translates, you have to use the term translates. A business analyst translates the business requirements or the business needs into a technology understandable form of document, diagrams, various artifacts that are required. Next, let's move on to software development lifecycle. So where are we going to implement the business analysis practice? We will be implementing the business analysis practice in a software company within various phases of software development lifecycle. There are three types of life cycles you must know. One is the software development life cycle. The other one is a software testing life cycle. And the third most important is project management life cycle. SDLC, ST, T is for testing, STLC, PMLC. First we will start with SDLC. Then we will cover STLC, that is software testing life cycle. And then we will see the project management life cycle. What is SDLC? SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. What are the various phases involved in a product development or a software development? The first stage is planning. Second is analysis. Then you have design. Fourth is implementation. Fifth is testing and integration. And the last is maintenance. Once the software gets deployed or released, next you have to give support or maintenance to the software. We have a new participant, Devanshi. Devanshi, could you please introduce yourself? Hi, Devanshi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
No problem. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us about the work that you're currently doing and what's your educational background?
Sure. So I have a master's in business management and I have worked as a business analyst previously.
Okay.
I'm just, um, I am doing this course because I want to improve my knowledge about business analysis and also get some skills with regards to documentation,
Okay.
SQL, and thank you.
Okay, that's good to know. Most welcome to the program. So you say that you've already worked as a business analyst. So what are the various concepts that you are aware of as a business analyst process? Or what were your
Well,
day-to-day activities as a business analyst?
The role of a business analyst changes as per the changes in the project, as per what phase the project is in. So I think the main role of a business analyst is you know, requirements gathering,
Okay.
requirements documentation,
Okay.
conducting meetings with stakeholders, testing,
Okay.
and yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So you already have an idea about it. So have you worked on creation of BRD, functional specification, functional design?
Yes, I have. So I have worked on BRDs and supplemental specs and storyboards and I've done a little bit of process flow diagrams, but it's just something that I want to perfect.
Okay, so you are pretty much good with the documentation part of it. You would like to learn more about UMLs, Unified Modeling Language. What are the various diagrams that you have to create as part of the
Yes,
BA? Okay, great. Good. So
yes.
you already have a good knowledge about business analysts. I understand that from your background, the work experience that you've already had. Most welcome to the session, and you will get to learn a lot more things, advanced documentation practices, and we will be covering live projects that can help you understand what is the proper structuring or what is the standard that you have to follow in terms of the business analyst practice. Could be how to create a BRD or functional requirement document, functional design document. How do you perform system analysis, system design? How do you create system architecture or solution architecture diagrams? All right. So there are various, and we'll be covering a lot of UML diagrams, so which I will show it to you at a later stage. Just to brief you about it, we will be covering the basic flowcharts, BPMN diagrams, that is a business process model notations, and then cause and effect diagram, activity diagrams, single view activity, vertical activity, horizontal activity, what is a cross-functional diagram, and sequence diagram. So when do you use the object lifeline and when do you use the actor lifeline? So there are a lot more diagrams like a tree view flow chart, get to understand the XML structure, organizational flow chart. There are many diagrams which will be covering as a part of the UML. Almost all the diagrams that are available as a part of MS Visio, right? So towards the end of
Great.
the session, I will also be showing you what are the templates, documents, live project, and the diagrams that we will be covering to help all the new participants to understand what are the additional details that you can learn if you have already practiced business analysis standards, or if you have worked on business analysis process in the past. There are advanced concepts which we will be intermediate to advanced concepts which we will be covering in this course that can help you enhance your knowledge. Most welcome to the course, Devanshi. Let's continue with the session.
Thank you.
So as I told you, the last phase post integration is the support or the maintenance that we give to the software that is created and deployed. In the planning and analysis phase, primarily you will be working on requirement gathering or requirement elicitation takes place. Even prior to requirement gathering, you have to create a rapport with your external stakeholder or your internal stakeholder or the point of contact who is going to give you the requirements. What is the requirement? What is the need to create the software or the product? That you have to understand. Next, what is the domain that you will be creating the software? A product should have a purpose. It should be based on some domain. It could be major domains like hospital management, pharma, manufacturing, CPG, FMCG, HR domain. So we will see a lot of hospital management concepts, diagnostic center or a DiagSoft product, how the software gets created for a diagnostic center, what are the various stages in it, HR management system, because these are all easier domains for us to understand as we have already seen these on a day-to-day basis. But there are some specific domains that are more related to, could be quality or could be any other domain within your organization. Specific, domain specific. It could be for sales and marketing, or it could be for finance. It can also be for the quality department, operations and process department. There they could be working on specific domains like capital markets and investment banking. But for a capital market and investment banking process, a software is required because these days we are not dependent on any manual work. Even if there is a manual work, the business analyst's aim or a goal should be to automate the processes as much as possible by software development. That's where a business analyst contributes to the IT improvement, process improvement, and business improvement of the organization. So as a part of the requirement gathering, we will see what are the various requirement elicitation practices, and we will see the brainstorming in detail. Next, once you have the requirements gathered, you must analyze the requirements or analyze your understanding about the business needs that you have collected from your stakeholder. Could be an internal stakeholder or an external stakeholder. Once you have completed the analysis of the concepts which you have understood, or MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, is a document that you will create to share your understanding with your external stakeholder or your internal stakeholder's point of contact. Next, you have to create a system design. So our diagramming practices or the UML diagrams will be primarily used as a part of the system design. Once you have the requirements gathered, you have understood what is a need for the product or the software to be developed, what is a domain or vertical that it would be based on, who are all your point of contacts, who's your stakeholder, who's your project sponsor, who's your project manager, which is the expertise that is required to implement the software creation. Once you have all these ideas, you will go ahead with the implementation phase. Planning, analysis, and design is the main area in which a business analyst will be primarily working on a day-to-day basis. Other than these, a business analyst will also contribute a lot to the testing phase. You will be primarily working on manual testing, creation of test scenarios, test cases, and user acceptance testing. At times, you might also be involved in working with the regression testing. We will see what each of these testing types are. Once the software is created, tested, it should be deployed. A business analyst will be working with a project manager in deploying the software and bringing the software version development or the entire software development to a closure. A software development can happen in different versions or in one shot. If it is a one-phased software development, it can last for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Once the software gets created, it gets deployed, and you get a sign off that it is perfectly matching the requirements or the need that the customer had when you started the project. That marks the closure of the project or the end of the project. If it is version based, it could last for say about 6 to 8 months, and then a new version of the software gets created with enhanced or advanced features in it. Requirement analysis and process. Initially, you have to work with the requirement elicitation or the requirement gathering phase. During requirement gathering phase, there could be a lot of new requirements that could come in. You have to capture that. Requirement change management is also a part of requirement gathering technique. How do you manage requirement changes that comes through? And we all know there is software development lifecycle methodology that is followed in each and every software company. Either it is a waterfall method, RAD, rapid application development, or agile. Prototyping method and V-shaped model also exists. We will see this in detail in our next session about the software development lifecycle methodologies. But in most of the companies, they follow agile methodology. In agile methodology, it is known that the changes are frequent. Ad hoc changes come up on a bi-weekly basis during the sprint review or sprint meetings, and the implementation of the change should happen within 2 weeks, which is a very tough milestone to achieve in terms of the project management activity. We will see how good we can manage the new changes that could come in as a part of the agile implementation within the organization. So within agile, we have concepts like Scrum. What is Scrum? And then within Scrum, we have sprint. We will see what is a sprint, what is a sprint log, what is sprint review, and how do you implement the changes that are recorded in each and every sprint. Along with this, we will also cover RTM, gap analysis and impact analysis, along with the requirement gathering techniques. Various templates that we would be working with, but in short, all these templates can be grouped under business cases, statement of work, project charter. As a project coordinator working with the project management group, you must know how to create a project charter, how to create Gantt charts, how to create timeline diagrams using Visio. How do you create minutes of the meeting? How do you organize a workshop or a meeting? How do you create an agenda? At a high level, we will be covering BRD, FRD and TRD. There are so many details that go into each of these documents, which we will see in detail. Which UML diagram should go into which document? What is the difference between a business requirement and a functional requirement? How different is a functional requirement from a non-functional requirement? What is the difference between a functional requirement document and a functional design document? What is a technical specification document? And what is a change request process? How is it achieved? UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. Mainly we have use case diagrams or use case modeling, activity diagram, sequence diagram and state chart or state machine diagram as a part of UML. But we will be covering all the diagrams that are available in Visio that supports the UML or software development lifecycle. Understanding use cases. Who's an actor? What is an event? How do you create a simple use case, intermediate use case and a complex use case that could have sub-functionalities defined? How do you split the functionalities using include and extend for optional functionalities? And how do you represent the relationship or the flow of events within a use case? Within data modeling techniques, we will be taking an example of a database project which has a front end and a back end, that is a diagnostic center automation. We will be covering data flow diagrams and data flow models for a cafeteria ordering system, I will be showing how to create the data flow. How different is a data flow diagram from a data flow model diagram? How do you create process flows for as a system and to be system? And data modeling also involves various database related concepts. How do you create a schema? What is an entity? What is an attribute? How do you create a relationship between entity and attribute? And this put together is referred to as a Chen's diagram in Visio. That's a high level diagram to represent the entities, attributes and relationship. Next is database oriented diagramming practice. That's referred to as the Crowfoot or entity relationship diagram. So with an entity relationship diagram, what are the various database related concepts that you will be working with? You must have an understanding of what is a primary key, what is a foreign key, how do you represent that in a data model, what is a composite key, supposing you have more than one primary key, how do you deal that, what is a unique key, how a database is created, how a table is created, what is a table structure. We will start from Excel spreadsheet table structure and how that can be transformed into a database related table structure. What are the various data types available? How do you insert data? How do you fetch data or extract data? So these are all advanced concepts which we will see in our later sessions as a part of this program. We will be covering all the concepts of business analysis process. What are the various business analysis tools that are available in the market? Visio and Visual Paradigm. Visual Paradigm is much preferred for use case modeling. Visio is preferred for all other UML diagrams. MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint, it's a must. We will see MS Word and MS Excel in detail. PowerPoint most of us know and we have already worked with. Excel, I will also be covering some part of Excel VBA and macro for process automation. This is an additional skill set. Having this skill set can help you find a job very easily. We will also cover SQL, how to use SQL on SQL Server, Oracle or Access database. A business analyst is expected to have a basic knowledge about SQL, but I will be teaching you from basic to intermediate, that is up to joins. Wireframing, how do you create a mock-up of an application screen or a web page using a tool called Pencil. Requirements management, there's a tool called Rational Requisite Pro, which you might get trained in the organization that you join. Collaboration, Google Docs or Google Spreadsheet. For presentation, you could use PowerPoint, or these days the companies are using Prezi. You can also try what is a Prezi. It's a very simple tool. You can browse for it online and you can get hands-on. You can just upload your PowerPoint presentation and that gets converted into an album view. An album view wherein each of the slides pop up on the screen alternatively is a Prezi way of presenting. A BA role in quality assurance, very important. BA plays an important role in the testing phase of software development lifecycle. BA also plays an important role in software quality assurance, which is different from software testing. There are different activities that are performed within the software quality assurance group in a software company. One is the testing activity, which I've already told you. As a part of the testing activity, you will be analyzing the requirements, gathering requirement analysis, check the design, review, perform a requirement or system design review, create the test plan. First you create the test strategy, then the test plan. You design the test. Designing a test means creating test scenarios and test cases, and then you set up the test environment. How do you set up a test environment within the software company? How do you execute the test cases or your test plan that you've created, and how do you create reports for the testing activity which you have performed? As a part of STLC, we will be covering types of testing. Mainly it is categorized into functional and non-functional testing, and within each of these, what are the various methods of testing, and several aspects relating to testing. Testing is different from other quality assurance related activities. Testing is different from the core quality assurance practices like Six Sigma, CMMI level implementation, CMMI implementation, IEEE standards, ISO implementation in your organization. You must always remember the terms Six Sigma, CMMI, IEEE, ISO. ISO stands for International Standard Organization. Six Sigma group works on process improvement activities. A business analyst will be closely working with the process improvement group or the Six Sigma group to find new opportunities that can help improve the business, the IT, and the process within the organization. A Six Sigma group contains or it has professionals who are trained in Six Sigma practices. A Six Sigma starts with yellow belt, green belt, black belt, and a lean sigma or a lean black belt. Six Sigma group primarily concentrates on analyzing the process for issues or problems that are currently faced or improve the existing process or the method of working, standard operating procedures, SOPs. Six Sigma outcome is the initiative to start a new product development. Either there could be process-based improvements or there could be a new product that has to be created to improve the process. CMMI level or CMMI implementation means capability maturity model. When a company starts, they may start at CMMI level 2, 3 as a startup, or they may not have a CMMI level. CMMI level describes various standards that the organization must follow, could be relating to the process or software development, that can help them move to a higher level of CMMI. So when we all search for a job, the most common thing that we ask is this a MNC? Is this a CMMI level 5 company? What is CMMI there? CMMI means it's a capability maturity model. It shows how mature is the organization or the company. What are the various standards that the organization follows? Other than CMMI, we also have ISO. So if someone tells us that this is an ISO certified company, we get a good feel about it. Why? Because we know the standards or the processes, procedures followed within that organization are based on the CMMI standards or ISO standards, which is very organized, systematic, and understandable, clear for an audit. Within the quality assurance group, you will also have audit. Audit team takes care of auditing or inspection. So if you are from the quality group for any of the product-based company, you will know what is auditing. Audit means to audit, to check the product which is getting created. The audit group will verify various standards of documentation or the practices that are followed as a part of the software development lifecycle. Next is IEEE standards. IEEE standards are primarily used for documentation. I will show you the references of IEEE standard and ISO standard based documentation. What are the various structure of the documentation that you must follow if they are looking for a CMMI, IEEE and ISO based standard and document creation. Role of project manager versus a business analyst. A project manager is involved in project management, execution and delivery. A business analyst, on the other hand, works on requirements management, communication, oral communication, written communication, one-way communication, bi-directional communication. Performance and process improvement. Under project management, a project manager defines the scope of a project. A business analyst defines the solution scope. A project manager estimates resources and acquires team. A business analyst is involved in business modeling. He or she creates business process models for an asset system and a to-be system. A project manager develops the project plan. A business analyst develops requirements work plan. A project manager coordinates the project activities. A business analyst works on business requirement documentation or creation of the business requirements. Understanding the business requirement from the external stakeholder or a third party or the internal stakeholder, and collecting all the business requirements, documenting it, and getting ready to translate the business requirement into a functional requirement of the system. A project manager will not be worried about the technical aspects or the domain specific aspects of the system, but they may be worried about what are the various expertise needed to implement the project, how many resources should they hire, how many resources should they collect from the bench and form a team for the project, how long is the project going to last, what is going to be the start date for the project, expense, project estimation. It involves budgeting activities for the project. It could be human resource related expense or expenditure or system related expenditure. What are the various departments that the project manager should deal with? Could be a finance department for budgeting. What is a budget? What is the difference between budget and allocation? What is the OPEX expense and what is a CAPEX expense? We will see this in detail. What are the various project risks that can be foreseen? Both system risk as well as attrition based risks. What are the constraints and dependencies for the project? On the other hand, the business analyst will be working on managing the requirements, reviews and accepts the project. Project manager will review and accept the project only from a project point of view, whereas a business analyst validates the requirements. A project manager works on the project closure. A business analyst would perform system testing and deploy the software and bring the software development to a closure. A project is different from a product. Creation of a product is the aim of a business analyst. Creation of a project, implementation of the project, hitting the milestones, achieving milestones of the project, and a successful closure of the project is the aim of a project manager. A project manager captures lessons learned. A business analyst gathers and documents requirements to make risks visible and provide crucial decision support. Very important for you to understand what are the roles that a business analyst would perform. Most of the times there will be an overlap between the activities that a business analyst and a project manager performs. A project manager should work in hand with a business analyst, and it's vice versa. So vice versa, a business analyst should also work with a project manager and should know the project management activities to some extent, not in detail. A business analyst may not be involved in project estimation or budgeting, but creation of milestones, because as a business analyst, you will have the business requirement which you're converting to a functional requirement of the system, which in turn is getting converted into a module of the system. So the module implementation aspects will be known by a business analyst. And you will be working with the development team for the module implementation and system integration. As a project manager, you will be much worried about the milestone. So how do you define a milestone? You will define a milestone Only when you get to understand what are the modules to be created or the system functionalities to be created, how is that going to be delegated? How do you delegate and distribute the task of creation of module? So if business analyst knows the product related information, a project manager will know project related information. So to finish a module or a functionality development of the product, a milestone for that can be created by a project manager only when a business analyst says there are 10 modules to be created, and for those 10 modules we need a milestone to be created. So what will the project manager do? A project manager or a project coordinator will use MS Project. Remember, the application that they use is MS Project. So within MS Project, a timeline based task will be created. I can show you the basics of MS Project, how you can create tasks within MS Project and how is that maintained. By default, a Gantt chart, G-A-N-T-T, Gantt chart is created within MS Project. We will also see how well you can do that using Excel. So these are sample visualizations. We will be creating many such visualizations that are required for you to represent various types of data. It could be testing number of defects, or it could be a project related, process related visualization that you might have to create. Always remember, more than text, keep it in diagram format and in visualization format, because diagrams, visualizations, graphical representations has more user impact than text. Rather than writing 10 lines of text, if you can create a visualization for it that can explain the concept much easily, please go ahead with it. That should be the trick that a business analyst must use to help the end user understand. When you translate, what do you mean by translation? You are translating a business requirement to a functional requirement. You are translating a functional requirement to a functional system design. So what is translation? You have to create something in a very understandable format. That's what it means when you translate. Right? You are making the other person looking at your work understand what you're trying to convey. So how well can you make them understand? Always the visualization has a better impact than the number of lines of text that you can write. We will also be helping you with interview preparation. Say about 200 interview questions will be shared with answers. You can go through each one of these questions. It will cover all the concepts that we learn as a part of this program. You can ask me any doubt relating to those questions. Questions will be shared with you during end of the program. If you are very much thorough with the concepts learned and you have hands-on with the concepts that we learn on a day-to-day, weekday class, we will be learning a lot of concepts. So if you can get hands-on with it then and there, or within a day's time, it will help you a lot. I can also have a mock-up interview with you all, and I can help you with your resume preparation. If you say you are thorough with the concepts that you've learned, we can have a mock-up interview wherein I will be asking you questions in real time how you can face a business analyst interview. But your preparation is very much needed. Only when you say that you're very much thorough with what you've learned or you've practiced, then we can go ahead. Otherwise, we will give you the set of interview questions. You can go through each and every interview question that will cover basic questions, personal detailed questions, and BA related questions. And resume, if you already have a business analyst experience, it's much easier for us to present the advanced concepts that you learn as a part of this program in your resume. Or if you're starting as a business analyst, then we would include some of the basic details of the BA that you have learned and you can apply for a job. Job part of it will be taken care by the program coordination team. You can contact the program coordinator for any help. A blog will also be shared with you all. The blog will look like this. You will have the training materials, assignments. Training materials are all already loaded. New diagrams or documents that I create as a part of this program will get uploaded within the training material, and you will have a system email sent to you to say new items have been added. Assignments, I will be posting it on a day-to-day basis. As and when we complete a session, that day you will find the assignment that you have to complete. If you do not find time, that's fine, but make sure that you do it over a period of time so that you can get hands-on. I will be uploading case studies and quiz questions as and when you're ready to answer those after covering some more concepts. Recorded sessions, you'll have the video sessions of the recording, whatever I've been teaching you. That entire session will be recorded and it will be uploaded on the same day. You have a lifetime access to all these resources. You can confirm more details about usage of blog if you need any help with navigation, how to view, how to download, how to upload, etc. You can check with the course coordinator, Kavya, she can help you with it. Webinar, day to day when you have to join the meeting, you'll have to click on the webinar link. You have the GoToMeeting link and you can join the meeting. Next, we will see what is enterprise analysis. We have already seen what is business analysis. Enterprise analysis means performing the business analysis at an enterprise level or at a higher level. Determine and define understanding and capturing business needs. Creation of the business architecture. Setting up the priorities and performing the feasibility studies. All these documents have already been uploaded. You can start downloading and viewing these. And if you're already practicing business analysis in your organization, you can go ahead and use any of these templates. It's all available for use. What is enterprise analysis? Enterprise analysis, also known as strategic enterprise analysis or company analysis, is defined as focusing on understanding the needs of the business as a whole, its strategic direction, and identifying initiatives that will allow a business to meet those strategic goals. In the interview, they may ask you, can you differentiate business analysis from enterprise analysis? Enterprise analysis involves a thorough examination of not only the business problem need. It is not restricted to a business problem. A company might have a bigger business solution that is required and not specific to any smaller business unit. So that's where you do an enterprise analysis, whereas in business analysis, you'll be only working on the business problem or the needed solution to a business problem. Whereas in enterprise analysis, you'll be working on enterprise level solutions. So I'm just reading it again. Enterprise analysis involves a thorough examination of not only the business problem need and its proposed business solution, if one already exists, but also an in-depth look into whether the proposed solution is truly the best solution, a detailed analysis of what the solution entails, its risks, feasibility in the existing organizational climate on the whole. You're seeing the organization as the whole. Just for a business requirement, if you cannot make any changes to the existing infrastructure of the organization, because infrastructural changes can bring about a lot of difference in the business. A business solution that you provide should not impact other running businesses. That is most important. Just because you are trying to solve a problem, the other enterprise analysis, the other enterprise solutions which have already been given, other business solutions which have already been implemented should not be affected. Because so much research and examination are involved in the process of enterprise analysis work, they are routinely done at a project's inception. Inception means start of the project. A thorough enterprise analysis endeavor means task. A thorough enterprise analysis endeavor will include an examination of currently proposed business initiative for both viability and effectiveness, an identification of true core business needs at hand regardless of what has been proposed so far, a description of the ideal solution to the need, an evaluation of strategic risk and returns associated with any proposed business solution, the scope of business analyst's proposed solution to the business need, meaning what tools and processes are involved in getting the solution, the creation of business requirements defining the business need and proposed solution, complete with visuals and a sound business case. We will see what is the difference between a business requirement, a business case, and a business rule. We will see the difference of these three terms in our future session. So in short, there's more explanation about the enterprise analysis and how the BEBOC defines, etc. But this is the basic that you should understand, that it is an in detail or in-depth analysis, and there are various other factors that are considered as a part of the enterprise analysis. Next, we have the requirement elicitation. What is requirement elicitation? Requirement elicitation means gathering the requirement. What is a requirement? A requirement means a need. What is the requirement for the software or the product to be created? There will be a lot of questions that will come up in the discussion, starting from the day you get to learn more about the product or the software to be created. What are the various techniques that are involved in the requirement gathering or requirement elicitation? We have brainstorming sessions, document analysis or review existing documentation, focus group and interviews, observations or job shadowing, prototyping, creation of storyboards, paper prototypes and whiteboard prototypes, requirement workshops, survey or questionnaire. I will explain to you each of these concepts in short or in brief. We will see these in detail as a part of the requirement elicitation process. Brainstorming means asking questions. There will be at least two parties involved in brainstorming, two or more. One or more parties to ask the questions. One or more parties to give their suggestion or a solution. Brainstorming session involves discussion. Both the parties will share their opinion. It should be an open-ended discussion. There are various terms and conditions in a brainstorming session. You must value the other person's opinion. Give equal opportunity for the participants to share their opinion or the solution. There can be several outcomes of a brainstorming session. As a business analyst, you will always carry a notepad with you or your computer with you to capture the various discussions that happen. A brainstorming session can also be organized at a high level with more number of participants, and that becomes a workshop. In a workshop, what do? We get to discuss a lot about the new requirement that has come through. Within a brainstorming session, if there are 5 to 6 people involved, within a workshop, you could have 4 different groups from your company with about 4 to 5 people within each of the group. From a quality group, finance group, HR group, from your development team, from the architecturing team, say about 5 to 6 teams, around 20 to 25 people. As a business analyst, you will take the lead. You must have very good facilitation skills. So what do you mean by facilitation skills? You must know how to organize a meeting, Whom to invite for a meeting? How do you invite for a meeting? And how do you facilitate the meeting? If you need the help of a facility team for having good facilities in your meeting room, it could be giving them a bottle of drinking water should be placed. Do you need a notepad and a pen to be placed? Do you need a projector to be working? You need a white screen to be placed to have the PPTs projected. All these can be done with the help of a facility team. Not only that, facilitation skill set means how well you conduct the workshop or the brainstorming session. You cannot remain as a silent spectator. After sending a meeting invite, inviting say about set of people for brainstorming or for workshop or for a JAD session. A JAD session is referred to as a joint application development session. There are various ways in which you carry out the entire meeting. You have to give a good start to it and you have to ask the opening question, right? You cannot expect the participants to immediately start talking as soon as the meeting starts. At times you may also have to break the ice. What do you mean by break the ice? The silence that is there in the meeting room. Because each and every participant in the meeting room will have a thought, let the other person start the conversation. Your communication skills and your program execution skills, that's on the whole referred to as the facilitation skill. You have to ask the first question and you have to encourage the participants to speak. And while the participants are speaking or sharing their opinion, make notes. In between, you should also ask relevant questions. And if you see some participants are not participating or they are not sharing their opinion, you could call out their name and you could tell them, could you please share your opinion? Or you could encourage them to speak. So this on the whole is referred to as the facilitation skill. We have a separate template that can give you an idea of how do you perform a proper session. Facilitated session template. So within this, so you will have all the session details captured. You should have a proper session agenda even before you schedule the session, which you should share with your end users. You can have a checklist to understand what are the various details that you will be speaking during your session. So here is a complete list that tells you what are the details that you have to cover as a part of introducing the session. How do you welcome? What are the various introductions that you should have? State the purpose, agenda. So we will see this in detail as a part of the template session. So there are so many templates that we have to go through. Manage the agenda. How do you open an issue? How do you document? And how do you conclude? This is a standard checklist. You can go through this. You can have this for your reference and you can follow this for any session that you organize. Next, you have the document analysis. In the brainstorming or the workshop, or the very first discussion will be a one-to-one face-to-face discussion, or it can also be one-to-one telephonic discussion, or it could be one-to-many face-to-face or telephonic. wherein you will get to understand who is your stakeholder, what are the point of contacts that your stakeholder gives. A stakeholder from an external organization could be a C-level executive. He could be at a, he or she could be at a director level or a VP or a president level, or the owner of the company. They will not sit with you to tell you what is the business requirement for the product to be created. They will only have one high level discussion to say, after their discussion with the sales and marketing for creation of a product, new product requirement will be taken by the sales and marketing. It's referred to as a sales lead. Once the sales lead or the opportunity comes through, it is in the hands of the business analyst to convert the lead into an opportunity. How? The very first discussion that you have with your external stakeholder, top level executive, must be really formal, and you must be very clear to get all the required details from them. You must make sure that you collect all the required information, basic information, to see that will you be able to implement the product or create the product within the environment that you have within your organization. The infrastructure in your organization or the expertise that you have may not match the requirement that the client is asking for. A particular technology in which the system must be created is a niche technology or a very specific technology for which you do not have a development resource, and you have to hire a development resource. So it could take at least 2 to 3 months to get a resource on board. So you have to be very clear about what your client expectation is, or what your client expectations are, and how well can you stretch or extend to satisfy the client or the customer needs. Do not accept what is not possible. Learn to say no where it is a no, but be diplomatic when you say no. You could tell them that right away, we cannot take this requirement due to a few issues. Could be expertise issue, or attrition, or finance budget problem, timeline problem, system environment problem, infrastructure problem. Make sure that you tell them that it could be done after a set period of time, if you think it is possible, after consulting various other people involved in your organization. Most of the time as a business analyst, before you take a decision, make sure that you involve as many people in your organization to get to understand what is the correct solution to the problem that you are facing, or to a question that you have got from your customer. Whatever you give as an answer in the first 2 to 3 sessions to your external stakeholder or to your point of contact will have a lot of weightage. It will create an impression about you, and you set an example for your organization. So have it clear, crisp and concise. Make sure that you talk only what is needed. Do not beat around the bush. Make sure that you get the correct information by asking the right question. C-level executives or top management officials will not have time to answer questions that are not relating to the subject that you're discussing. And if you think the domain is really difficult for you to understand, then you need to ask SME point of contact. SME stands for subject matter expert. They will be experts in the subject or the domain in which the software or the product should get created. Interviews. You will be asking questions, so you are an interviewer. WER, that's the suffix, the ending of it. A person who answers you is an interviewee. Interview is different from brainstorming and workshop. In interview, You will be asking and you will be getting an answer. So you will have all your questions ready prior to the interview, and you will only ask questions and the interviewee will answer you. WEE, that's the interviewee. Who's answering you is the interviewee, and you are an interviewer. In a brainstorming or a workshop, it's two-ended discussion or open-ended discussion. If there are many people involved in the discussion, it becomes an open-ended discussion. There will be a lot of open-ended questions and many answers to it. In an interview, there will be one question, can be one or more answers or solutions to it. That is the main difference. Job shadowing or observation, you will have to sit with the point of contact or the analyst who's working on the job, and you will see what they are doing on their system. Prototyping, whatever you have understood, you will have to create either a storyboard or a paper prototype or a whiteboard prototype. Most of the time, our understanding in a meeting will be created as a diagram on the whiteboard within a meeting room. After a meeting by one group, when another group enters, there will be such big diagrams with small text writings in each of those shapes. So what is that? That's referred to as a prototype. Either a prototype is created on as a whiteboard diagram or a whiteboard write-up or a glass table. On a glass table, a flowchart can be drawn, a workflow can be drawn, a process can be drawn, or the points that should be implemented, to-do tasks, can also be written on a glass table or on a whiteboard. So these are simple type of prototypings, or it could be on your notepad, of course. You have to convert these prototypes into a proper UML diagram or a proper graphical representation and a document. How do we do that? As a business analyst, there are so many templates available which I will be sharing with you. When to use each of these templates? Other than documents, we have templates. So for a communication plan, we have a template. So I have just shown you the templates for a session. How do you create a session? How do you plan a session? How do you summarize a session? And how do you facilitate a session? What is a checklist for facilitation that you can use? There are so many templates available for various activities that a business analyst could do on a day-to-day basis. Workshop, I've already explained you what is a workshop and how equivalent is that to a brainstorming session and how different is that from an interview session. Surveys and questionnaire. Surveys and questionnaire refers to soft copy or hard copy of the question that you wish to ask your point of contact or the end user. If you have a lot of point of contact or end users, you have to create a survey, online survey or a paper-driven survey, a handout-based survey. The end user will fill in the details. Most of the time that could be a multiple choice question wherein the end user will click the correct answer or the answer of their choice. So once you get that information collated either via online or using hard copy, you have to create a data set for it. So that is the data set of the replies to the questions that you have asked your end user. So these are the most frequently used, commonly used elicitation techniques to get the requirements. Next, business architecture. So even before we start with the business architecture, for the benefit of those who have newly joined our training program, who are attending for the first time, I would like to show you all the templates, projects, documents and diagrams that we will be covering. So if you see here, we have so many templates that we will be working with. For communication, we have a communication plan template. So here is a communication plan template. You can directly use the templates which will be shared with you. So we have so many templates, at least 84 plus we have lot more within each of these folders. Software testing, we have many templates that we will be sharing with you. So if you see here, these are all the templates. So we have participants from the quality assurance group and testing group. So you might also have seen what these are, how to create test strategy, test plan, how to create a test case. So it is not just the Word documents. Wherever needed, I will also be giving you the Excel templates. So Excel templates can directly be used for creation of RACI matrix, RTM, test cases. So these are all Excel based. Minutes of the meeting, I'll be giving you a template, how to create a meeting agenda, how to create a defect report. So even for each and every observation that you do after a meeting, there is a separate template that is called as an observation template. So here's the observation template, wherein you will be capturing each and every observation that you do during various sessions. It could be for a workshop or brainstorming session, or it could be for a JAD session, sprint meeting. So whatever is the observation that you do, you have a template for it. Here we have a very nice project charter. We have the Excel view of a project charter and a Word document that can be used. So this is the project charter in the Word format. The same thing, we also have it in the Excel format. Here's the Excel format. Very nice and a simple project charter that captures all the details, including project estimates. For business case, we have a separate document. What are the business objectives, modeling? So for that, we have a document that can help you understand. For requirements, what are the different types of requirements that we will be working with? So a brief description of the requirement gathering phase and various documents. Functional requirement document, and we have a sample BRD. So in the sample BRD or the functional requirement document, software requirement specification, SRS document, we will have a description of what that particular section of the document should do and an example of what you can fill in. So this is a sample widget creation software development activity which we will be capturing as a part of the business requirement documentation. Here is an example of how do you perform a business process review. As is business process, how do you create the diagram, and to be business process, how do you create various diagrams. So these are all about the documents and the templates that we will be covering. There are so many documents and templates. So each one of these are very much interesting and you must learn each of these. You know, RACI matrix, it's commonly used, and you will have to work on how to create a RACI matrix. So here's a sample RACI matrix that I've created for sales and purchase or sales and marketing department. So how a RACI matrix is created, what do you mean by RAC and I, and how do you fill in the matrix. So this is a standard matrix which you can use in your project when you take up a business analyst job. So all of these templates are standard templates used in the organization and you can directly use these. Next we have SWOT analysis and a balanced business scorecard. So I will explain you how to perform SWOT analysis. Very much important, you have to create a SWOT analysis and you have to put this on a PowerPoint. So these are all examples of documents. Other than these, I will also be sharing the SQL queries that you might need handy. So I will teach you how to create these queries and how you can run these queries on a database. So prior to that, we will see in detail how you can get a basic understanding of the various database related concepts. So what are the various projects that we will be working with? We have a end-to-end project that is called Performance Enhancement System for Software Assessment Practice, Automation of Software Assessment. So within this document, we have the first level of discussion about problem statement, scope of the problem, objective, etc. System analysis, and then within system analysis, we have various other details which we will be covering: introduction to system analysis, environment specification, existing system, to be system, and then system perspective, functionalities, the user problem, requirements. Under requirements, we have functional, non-functional, performance-based, database requirements, and development tools. System architecture, how a module is created from the entire system architecture. And then we will have details about architectural design, which covers the activity diagram, use case modeling, sequence diagrams, functional design, implementation concepts, and testing. This document is very, very handy. You can have this with you and you will know which part of the document, what kind of an information should go through. So there are various texts that have been added, and there are a lot more diagrams that I have created. So in this project, I have worked end to end in the entire software development life cycle. So these are various diagrams that can be created. So this is an activity diagram. These are use case diagrams. So other than use case, we have activity diagrams. We have various. So these diagrams are created using Visio or any other similar application. Visio is the most preferred by every company. These are sequence diagrams. And then we have the architectural diagrams and the module diagrams which have to be created. So the architectural diagrams will look like this. So this is an architectural diagram created using Visio. I'll show you in Visio how these can be created. These are module based diagrams that you have to create. Okay, so this is one document that has all the sections of the project. This is another one that is a cafeteria ordering system, wherein we will see how to create SRS, because most of the companies would expect you to create SRS once you're done with your business requirement and your functional requirements. So this is an example document for SRS. It's a live project for cafeteria ordering system. This is a data flow diagram, how to create data flow diagram, how to create the system operating environment, what are the various operating environments, and then how do you create a logical data model, physical data model, etc. All these details will be shown in the SRS document. We will also be working on a project called DiagSoft. So as a part of DiagSoft, as I already told you, we have both the front end and the back end of the application. For database related tasks, DiagSoft is a very good example, because here we will be covering a lot of schema, a lot of information about schema, Chen's diagram, and the ER diagram, etc. And other system document structure will also be discussed as a part of the DiagSoft project. Next, we will see what are the various Visio diagrams that we can work with. So these are sample Visio diagrams. A simple patient login. Visio software download link, SQL Server software download link will be given to you by the course coordinator. You can download the software and install on your system. So here is a sample basic flowchart diagram that we will create using Visio. What are the various shapes? We will be covering most of the shapes that are available within Visio that are relating to the BA profile. Whatever you must know as a business analyst, we will be covering all the diagrams. So we have a set of about 30 diagrams on the whole. Activity diagram. So activity diagram, this is a single view. We have multi-view activity diagram. So to show you various types of activity diagrams, so this is one view. So this is a single view activity diagram with a merge and a join node, very nicely represented. We will see how to create all of these. These are most important tasks that a business analyst should do. These are referred to as artifacts or diagrams, UML. UML, if you know all the UML diagrams and the possible diagrams using Visio and visual paradigm, it will really help you to be successful in your role. So this is an example of a vertical swim lane. What is a swim lane diagram? We will see. This is a vertical swim lane. And then we also have horizontal swim lanes, cross-functional swim lanes. This is a horizontal swim lane. We have a brainstorming diagram. So after I just explained you what is a brainstorming session, right? So very soon we will see how to create a brainstorming diagram. This is a second diagram that you will learn after learning the basic flow chart. The brainstorming diagram, how do you use legend representations? Very, very important. All these have to be shared. You have to create these diagrams and you have to share. So we will see how to create these diagrams, very presentable. Many such diagrams are there. Sequence diagram. We have partitioned sequence diagram. For different modules, what are the different? For login failure, how do you do? Login success. So within the same, how do you use the activation bar or a block? We will be learning each one of these. There are several other diagrams. So here is the use case that is created using Visio. This is for hospital reception system. It's only one small functionality that we have created here. Other than this, we also have use case models. I wanted to show it to you here. Okay. So all these documents and diagrams have already been uploaded, and anything new that gets created in every session will be uploaded the same day for your reference. So here is a sample use case scenario. How to create a use case scenario. What are the standard definitions in a use case scenario? How do you create a use case diagram? This is a simple use case diagram. We have other complex use case diagram that involves dependency, include, extend, general activity. So this is for an ATM, customer ATM activity. Other sample of use case diagrams. And then we will also cover how to create a use case model document and how do you map it across. So there are so many, along with this I will also give you the business analyst activity tracker. In the business analyst activity tracker, you will have various details that you have to capture on a day-to-day basis as a business analyst. It's a live template that you can directly use when you start working as a business analyst to capture all the activities that you perform on a day-to-day basis. Here is a summary view of how many hours you are contributing to which task. Okay. So we'll be providing you the projects, Visio diagrams, all the documents, filled in documents. Then these are all templates. Documents are filled in. These are templates that you can directly use for your live project purpose. You can look at the documents and fill in the templates. And need be, I can also share all the diagrams. So these are all diagrams that you will be using as a part of. So we will create all these diagrams using Visio. That's the Visio sample which I've been showing. If you are not able to use Visio or view what it is, you can go through these diagrams. Diagrams have been separately provided to you. You can go through each one of these. So within a BRD, how do you create versions? So how do you fill in sprint? Here's a sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. How do you fill in the details? So each and every aspect of or each and every activity that you would perform as a business analyst will be taught to you in the training program. So with this, we will end today's session. Open to questions. If you have any questions, you can please ask me. and ebooks will also be shared with you along with the BEBOK guide. Interview questions will be given to you right at the beginning. Documents, all the documents get uploaded at once. Once you have enrolled to the training program, you will have access to all the resources. Any questions for me?
So this course is 6 weeks?
This course will be on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. That's my understanding. For more details about the course duration, you could speak to the course coordinator or the program coordinator, Kavya. You can check
Okay.
which are the days that can help you, or which when do you want to attend. So she can help you with that, with the batch and the other details about the course.
Okay, so it's a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Like, how many hours is each class?
Every day, 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
And it will be same timing at
Yeah,
4
same timing.
5:30.
Yes, it's the same timing as like today. Whatever we have done today, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Even if you're newly starting with a business analyst course, you don't have to worry at all, because with this course, you will get to learn the basics to
Okay.
intermediate and advanced level. So
So
we,
do I need to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, please go ahead.
So do I need to have a bachelor's to do the business analytic course, or?
Not necessarily. This is more work oriented. This is certification that you're doing, right? You're learning a new concept altogether that's called business analysis. And when you take up a
Okay.
business analyst job, you will be using the concepts that you learn here as a part of this program.
Oh, okay.
All the concepts will be covered, so you don't have to worry at all. If you prefer to have the course on alternate days or some other program during weekend, so you can check with the program coordinator and she can help you with it. Okay, if you have any more questions, you can share it through the course coordinator. I'll be glad to answer you all. Those who have already enrolled, you have access to the blog. You can post your questions. There is an option where you can write a question or a query to the trainer. I will be glad to answer your question on the blog, or you can also ask a question in the next session.
Okay.
Thank you all. Yeah. Any more questions?
Thank you. No question.
Okay. Thank you all and you have a good day. Let's meet in the
You
next
too.
session.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a good night.
You too.
Good
Bye.
night.